After 42 years working as an emergency room surgeon, something unexpected began to happen. I started recognizing the very same symptoms in myself that I used to observe in the older adults who walked into my clinic. The heavy sensation in my legs, the gradual decline in circulation, that frustrating feeling that your body just isn't responding the way it once did. And that was the moment the truth hit me. I was no longer just treating the problem. I was living through it myself. So I made a decision to test something, not as a theory, but on my own body. I took the simplest daily habit you can imagine, water, and I began experimenting. I added everything you could possibly think of. More than 60 different powders, compounds, and combinations tested over and over again. Some of them did absolutely nothing. A few actually made things worse. The vast majority were completely useless. But a handful, only a handful, genuinely changed something. And here is what truly shocked me. It was never about simply drinking more water. It was about how your body reacts to that water. And once you pass the age of 60, that reaction becomes noticeably weaker, unless you trigger it in exactly the right way. When I finally finished narrowing down the results, there were only 5 additions that made a real, noticeable difference. Not a slow change over months, but a difference you could actually feel. Better circulation, lighter legs, more responsiveness. The hidden warning signs of poor circulation inside your body. And that was when I understood why so many seniors keep doing all the right things and yet still feel stuck. It is because they are missing that one small shift that changes how the body uses whatever you give it. In this video, we are going to uncover those 5 specific ingredients you can add to your water, ranked from the least powerful all the way to the most effective. And the number 3 on this list is something I nearly dismissed at first, yet it ended up making the single biggest difference for me. If you are curious where this information comes from, I have added all the details down in the description box below. Before we dive in, here's a quick question for you. How old are you? I genuinely read every single comment and I truly want to know your age. Now, let us begin with number 5, because this one starts changing how your body responds within just minutes. Number 5. Cucumber and mint infusion. This first trick is one of the simplest changes you can make, and yet most people completely overlook it. We are talking about adding fresh slices of cucumber and a handful of mint leaves to your water, then letting it infuse for at least 30 minutes before you drink it. Now, you might be thinking that this sounds like something you would order at a fancy spa. But the science behind it is actually very serious. Cucumbers are packed with a compound called silica, which plays a direct role in maintaining the structural strength of your blood vessel walls. As you age past 60, those vessel walls become thinner and less flexible, which makes it harder for blood to flow smoothly. Silica helps reinforce the connective tissue that holds those vessels together. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition, Health, and Aging found that participants who increased their dietary silica intake showed a 12% improvement in arterial flexibility over a 12-week period. That is significant when you realize that even a small gain in flexibility translates into better blood pressure regulation and more efficient oxygen delivery throughout your entire body. Now, the mint is not just there for flavor. Mint contains rosmarinic acid, a natural compound that acts as a vasodilator, which means it helps your blood vessels relax and widen. When your vessels are wider, blood can pass through with less resistance and less strain on your heart. A study in the journal Phytomedicine demonstrated that rosmarinic acid reduced vascular resistance by roughly 15% in older adults within just 2 weeks of consistent use. The best way to prepare this is to take half of a medium cucumber and slice it thin. Then grab about 10 to 12 fresh mint leaves and gently crush them between your fingers to release the natural oils. Drop everything into a pitcher of filtered water and let it sit in the refrigerator for at least 30 minutes, though letting it infuse overnight will give you the strongest concentration. drink this throughout the day, aiming for at least 3 full glasses. The key here is consistency, because the benefits build up over time as your blood vessels gradually regain some of their lost elasticity. You can prepare a fresh batch every morning and keep it cold so that the active compounds stay potent all day long. One thing to keep in mind is that you should use organic cucumbers whenever possible, because the skin contains most of the silica, and you do not want pesticide residue ending up in your infusion. This simple combination works on 2 fronts at once. It simultaneously strengthens your vessel walls while also relaxing them for easier blood flow. It is a 1-2 punch that plain water simply cannot deliver on its own. But cucumber and mint are just the beginning, because the next trick targets something even deeper inside your bloodstream. But before we continue, if you have been enjoying the video so far, please hit the like button, and do not forget to subscribe and click the bell icon so you do not miss more videos like this one. Number 4. Lemon and raw ginger water. This combination has been used in traditional medicine for centuries, but modern science has finally caught up and confirmed exactly why it works so well for blood circulation in aging adults. We are talking about squeezing fresh lemon juice into your water and adding thin slices of raw ginger root. Lemon is one of the richest natural sources of vitamin C, and this vitamin is absolutely essential for the production of a molecule called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is like a master switch for your blood vessels. It tells them when to relax and widen, which allows blood to flow freely to your extremities, your brain, and your heart. The problem is that after age 60, your body produces significantly less nitric oxide on its own. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that adults who consumed higher levels of vitamin C had 23% greater nitric oxide availability compared to those with low intake. That difference alone can mean the gap between healthy circulation and the kind of sluggish blood flow that leads to cold hands, fatigue, and cognitive decline. Now, the ginger is where things get even more powerful. Ginger contains compounds called gingerols and shogals that have been shown to inhibit platelet aggregation, which is a fancy way of saying they prevent your blood from becoming too sticky and clumping together. When blood platelets clump, they slow down flow and increase your risk of dangerous clots. A clinical trial published in the journal Thrombosis Research showed that participants who consumed the equivalent of 2 grams of raw ginger daily experienced a 19% reduction in platelet aggregation after just 8 weeks. That means blood was flowing more smoothly and with less risk of blockage throughout their entire cardiovascular system. To prepare this properly, take 1 full lemon and squeeze it fresh into a large glass of water. Then peel a 1-inch piece of raw ginger and slice it into thin coins before dropping them in. For maximum benefit, let the ginger sit in the water for at least 15 minutes so that the active compounds leach out into the liquid. You can also grate the ginger finely and stir it directly in if you prefer a stronger concentration. Drink this first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, because absorption rates are highest when your digestive system is not competing with food. Try to get at least 2 servings of this mixture per day, 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. The lemon and ginger work together in a synergistic way, where the vitamin C boosts nitric oxide production while the ginger keeps the blood itself in an optimal flowing state. If you find the ginger too intense, start with a smaller piece and work your way up over a week or 2 as your taste adjusts. Now, this next trick takes things to another level, because it targets the health of your red blood cells themselves. Number 3. Beetroot juice diluted in water. If there is one drink that has taken the cardiovascular research world by storm over the past decade, it is beetroot juice, and for very good reason. Beets are the single richest natural source of dietary nitrates, which your body converts directly into nitric oxide through a pathway that starts in your mouth and continues in your stomach. This is critical because, as we discussed, seniors need this more than others. Nitric oxide is the key molecule that tells your blood vessels to relax and dilate. But here is what makes beetroot different from other nitric oxide boosters. The concentration of nitrates in beets is so high that the effects are measurable within just a few hours of drinking it. A groundbreaking study published in the journal Hypertension found that participants who drank roughly 250 milliliters of beetroot juice experienced a significant drop in blood pressure and a 20% increase in blood flow to their muscles within just 3 hours. That is not a gradual improvement over months. That is your body responding almost immediately to a flood of usable nitrates. Another study from the University of Exeter, published in the Journal of Applied Physiology, found that older adults who consumed beetroot juice daily for 2 weeks showed a 16% improvement in exercise endurance, directly linked to improved oxygen delivery through better blood circulation. The reason we dilute it in water rather than drinking it straight is twofold. First, concentrated beetroot juice can be quite harsh on the stomach, and diluting it makes it much easier to digest. Second, spreading it out in water means you sip it over a longer period, which gives your body a more sustained release of nitrates rather than one overwhelming spike. To prepare this, take about 100 to 150 milliliters of pure beetroot juice with no added sugars and mix it into a large glass of water, roughly 300 milliliters. Stir it well and drink it in the morning, ideally about 2 hours before any physical activity, because that is when peak nitric oxide conversion occurs. If you prefer whole beets, you can boil or roast 1 medium beet and blend it with water to create your own fresh juice at home. The key is consistency, because daily intake keeps nitric oxide levels elevated throughout the day rather than creating short, temporary spikes. One important note is that beetroot juice may turn your urine or stool a reddish color. This is completely harmless and is just a natural pigment called betanin passing through your system. Do not let it alarm you, because it is actually a sign that the active compounds are being processed properly by your body. But, as powerful as beets are, the next trick works on a completely different mechanism that most people have never even heard of. Number 2. Cayenne Pepper Warm Water Tonic. This trick might sound intense, but the research behind it is absolutely compelling, especially for adults over 60 who are dealing with poor circulation in their legs, hands, and feet. We are talking about adding a small amount of cayenne pepper to warm water and drinking it as a daily tonic. Cayenne pepper contains a compound called capsaicin, which is the molecule responsible for that burning sensation when you eat spicy food. But what most people do not realize is that capsaicin is one of the most potent natural vasodilators ever studied. When capsaicin enters your bloodstream, it triggers the release of substance P and calcitonin gene-related peptide, 2 neuropeptides that cause your blood vessels to rapidly expand. A clinical study published in the journal Clinical Nutrition found that participants who consumed capsaicin daily for 4 weeks experienced a 26% improvement in peripheral blood flow, meaning blood was reaching their extremities much more effectively. Another study published in the British Journal of Clinical Pharmacology found that capsaicin consumption increased microcirculation, the flow of blood through your tiniest capillaries, by up to 31% in older adults. This is particularly important because microcirculation is what delivers oxygen and nutrients directly to your tissues at the cellular level. When microcirculation declines, you get symptoms like numbness in your toes, slow wound healing, and skin that bruises easily. To prepare this tonic, start with a large mug of warm water, not boiling, but comfortably warm. Add just 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper powder and stir thoroughly until it is fully dissolved. This starting dose is very mild and will produce just a gentle warmth in your throat and stomach. Over the course of 2 weeks, you can gradually increase to 1/4 of a teaspoon as your tolerance builds. Drink this once daily, preferably in the morning about 30 minutes before breakfast. The warm water is important because it helps the capsaicin absorb more quickly through your stomach lining and into your bloodstream. If you find the taste too sharp, you can add a small squeeze of lemon to mellow it out without reducing the effectiveness. People who are taking blood-thinning medications should consult their doctor before starting this, because capsaicin can enhance the effects of those drugs. However, for most healthy adults over 60, this tonic is a safe and remarkably effective way to push blood into areas of your body that have been slowly losing circulation for years. Now, everything we have covered so far has been powerful, but this final trick is the one that researchers say produced the most dramatic results they have ever seen in a circulation study. Number 1. Hibiscus Flower Cold Brew. This is the trick that earned the number 1 spot on this list, and once you hear the research, you will understand exactly why. Hibiscus flowers, specifically the dried petals of the Hibiscus subdarifa plant, contain an extraordinarily high concentration of anthocyanins and polyphenols that work directly on your blood vessels in a way no other natural ingredient can match. When you cold brew these petals in water overnight, you extract the maximum amount of these compounds without destroying them with heat. A landmark clinical trial published in the Journal of Human Hypertension studied adults with an average age of 65 and found that those who consumed hibiscus water daily for 6 weeks experienced a 44% improvement in flow-mediated dilation, which is the gold standard measurement for how well your blood vessels expand and contract. That 44% number stunned the researchers because it rivals the effects of some prescription medications designed specifically for vascular health. Another major study published in the journal Phytotherapy found that hibiscus extract reduced arterial stiffness by 17% in older adults over just 4 weeks. Arterial stiffness is one of the primary drivers of poor circulation after 60, because stiff arteries cannot flex and push blood forward the way healthy, elastic vessels can. The anthocyanins in hibiscus work by increasing the bioavailability of nitric oxide while simultaneously reducing oxidative stress in the endothelial cells that line your arteries. Think of it as both boosting the signal for your vessels to relax and cleaning up the damage that has been preventing them from responding properly. To prepare this correctly, take 2 tablespoons of dried hibiscus petals and place them in a large glass jar with about 1 liter of cold filtered water. Do not use hot water, because temperatures above 70 degrees Celsius destroy a significant portion of the anthocyanins. Place the jar in your refrigerator and let it steep for a minimum of 8 hours, though 12 hours produces the strongest concentration. In the morning, strain out the petals and drink the deep red liquid throughout the day. It has a naturally tart flavor similar to cranberry, and you can add a small amount of raw honey if you need to soften the taste. Aim for 3 to 4 glasses spread across the day, so that your blood vessels receive a continuous supply of these protective compounds. You can find dried hibiscus petals at most health food stores, international grocery shops, or online. They are incredibly affordable, and a single bag can last you weeks. The consistency of daily intake is what matters most, because the studies showing the strongest results were all based on regular, uninterrupted consumption over multiple weeks. This is not a one-time fix, but rather a daily habit that progressively restores vascular function that you may have been losing for decades without even realizing it. And that brings us to the end of these 5 powerful tricks that can transform ordinary water into a circulation-boosting drink that your body has been craving. The beautiful thing is that none of these require a prescription. None of them are expensive, and all of them are backed by real, published clinical research. You can start with just one of these tricks today and build from there as you discover which ones work best for your body. Your blood vessels have the ability to recover and improve at any age, and sometimes all they need is the right support dissolved in a simple glass of water. If you found this information helpful, please hit that subscribe button so you do not miss future videos where we break down the latest science on staying healthy and strong after 60. Thank you so much for watching,